Good day and welcome to this third installment in our series on composition. And today we are going to be looking at 4 strategies that is going to help us implement composition and help us take our composition into the next level. Let's begin. So the first one that I can't stress enough of is thumbnail sketches. If you really want to improve on your composition quickly, you need to employ thumbnail sketches, which is small little sketches, in order to practice composition. So this photographic reference I took on the way to McGregor. It's of the Hex River Mountains. And in the thumbnail sketch, I'm going to draw on my favorite linen paper with pencil. And I start by drawing a border which will represent the dimensions of the subject matter. Thumbnail sketches is a good quick practice run to help us reinforce our skills and compose better paintings. It is in this stage that we can get a clear indication if our composition will work or not. By dividing the picture plane up into its value constituents of clouds, sky, mountains, trees, background, middle ground and foreground, we can establish depth, balance and mood in the painting. It's also an opportunity to experiment without fear of failure. Here we can test our ideas, see what needs to be changed, what we need to omit and what we need to emphasize, and what elements can be subordinated. So, in the process of drawing and creating your thumbnail sketches, don't just merely draw everything literally and copy everything as you just see it. Try to get it into simplistic, almost abstract-like shapes. So here is the finished drawing, and we see only a few basic shapes that brings everything together. Here is another example, and we are going to omit all those details and bring the reference to its basic, simplified shapes. It is a good idea to do thumbnail sketches every day, or as much as you can. Many of my ideas and paintings start this way, and I will keep these sketches filed for a later painting. By drawing thumbnail sketches, we can now have many more opportunities for paintings, and it is a crucial step in the creative process. So in the next sketch, just like the previous, I simplify the shapes into an almost geometrical abstract-like forms. This can aid in seeing the composition clearly and give us a good indication of the composition and if it will work. We can now, from this step, proceed to do more advanced alterations. With a simplified drawing, we can clearly see which elements of our picture need further attention and what must be left alone. So now let us follow the same process together in a color study. On a primed panel, we proceed to draw out shapes using a synthetic hair round, some Van Dyke brown paint, and some odorless mineral spirits. We sketch only the framework and pay no attention to details. Here we see exactly how abstract our composition is. We start the painting process by blocking in the sky, followed by big shapes for the clouds, separated by only a light and a shadow shape. Mountains are the same big shapes. With some ultramarine blue, Van Dyke brown, and a little primary magenta, we proceed to omit all those subtle nuanced values for a more broad approach and paint in geometrical shapes, painting the dark sides as shapes and the light side as shapes. In the highlights, we use some sky blue mixed with a touch of ultramarine and a little terracotta green with a little lemon yellow. We then proceed to the ground plane and block in the shapes of the dam rolling hills and the warm bushes in the foreground. Once we have established the colors and the main value shapes, we can cautiously proceed to put the slightest amount of details in. Only if the details are helping the main focus of the artwork. And there we have the compositional sketch, as well as a small color study that will inform a much larger work. Note at how deliberately everything was transferred, from our thumbnail to our color study. The process is both calculated and careful, flowing from one step to the next. It defeats the object if our color study does not represent our thumbnail drawing in proportions and compositional shapes. Learn to compose by building up your pictures through multiple references. This has been one of the big ones for me. Here, you learn to use the compositional armatures as tools necessary to build great composition, and you really start to familiarize yourselves with compositional shapes. I really like the depth here and the diagonal slanting toward the house. There is a contrasting opening on the right inviting us into the picture. The mountains in this reference is much more interesting in shape, depth and scope as well. I'm using a larger canvas board here, and I'm transferring the dimensions of the thumbnail sketch onto the canvas using a synthetic round brush with a little bit of mineral spirits and some Van Dyke brown paint. I decided on a simple division in the sky, making it more interesting than the plain blue sky. The clouds are now swooping in behind those mountains, and then I start blocking in the flat shapes of the mountains. There in the mountains, I'm using ultramarine blue, little Van Dyke brown, and a little primary magenta, to which I add little cerulean blue and white. As we come closer, the colors in the landscape becomes warmer, and once again I use big simple shapes in the foreground. When you're cross-referencing, you immediately have many more possibilities and can really get the most out of your picture references. Sometimes you can be really pleasantly surprised at what you can create using multiple references and your artistic license. To be able to work in this manner requires you to have a better understanding of compositional armatures and to be able to use them as tools to bridge the references. This, together with a great understanding how color and atmospheric depth works, and you are good to go. Of course, for any success to happen, the main ingredient of any artwork is practice. practice composing, practice sketching thumbnails, and practice your color studies. The final strategy I want to talk about today is to document your process, even if your work is bad in the beginning. This will give you a reference point from which to work and to improve and to basically see your progress. Without this final step, we can really have no retrospect on what is happening in our creative career. So it's very important for us to be able to look back. So whenever you do a sketch or that painting, photograph it, keep it in a file. You'll see in a couple of years' time, you'll come back and you will see that your work has drastically improved from when you first started to what it currently is. Finally, we have come to the end of the series, and I just want to say thank you for watching until the end. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment to let me know if this was the right information for you. And until next time, have a great day.